It is cold and rainy up here in Canada, so it's time for another mailbag. First one up is this thin little guy. Over here it says 120 by 36 millimeters, so I mean, there's really nothing to this, so let's see what it is. Oh, it's an LED. Let's take a look. What this thing is a cob LED. And so this is just basically a bunch of individual little diodes, all printed onto a circuit board. So cob, usually stands for chip on board. And here you've got an aluminum substrate, which is actually quite thin. So a bit too thin to be the only heatsink. Actually, I guess it depends on the wattage you're going to run this at. Typically these are 12 volts, and I believe this one is 2. Because I'm not sure if you can make it out here, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 LEDs per row, and a whole bunch of these rows. And I do believe that those 4 will be in series with each other, and then each row will be in parallel. And also another sign that that could be the case is that we have the positive here, negative here, positive here, negative here. So it's possible the positive goes all the way across like this, feeds all these individual rows, and then just keeps going in a line. So you can have actually a few of these in a row. So to see what's going on here, I've got my power supply here. It's set to 12 volts. And I set it to 100 milliamps because I don't want this to light up bright. I want this to light up just barely, and so we'd be able to see the individual LEDs, because I'm not sure you guys can see it very well with my lighting setup here. So I'm just going to activate my power supply, turn that on. Okay, and I'm just going to touch the red positive to here and the negative to here. Does this work? Ah, there we go. Don't know if you can see that. Let me try reducing the current a little bit more. So let's try setting that to maybe about 15 milliamps. Let's see if that's actually possible. Okay, there and there. Oh, can you see them now? Don't know if you can see those 4 rows, but there you go. So that is a 12 volt light. Actually, at this power level, about 10, 11 milliamps, I can actually see that they're a bit blue, because that's how a white LED works. If you didn't know, they're actually blue LEDs at a specific frequency to react. The wavelength activates this phosphor coating, which is yellow, and the yellow phosphor coating actually emits the white light. It's not actually the LEDs underneath. So let's see if we can crank up the voltage limit, or the current limit. Let's say to about go about 600 milliamps, just short of that. See if I can tell how bright this is. Now you guys will probably just see a flash of white, but we'll see. Oops, I should probably turn it on. Yeah, that's pretty bright. Can't really see much around it, but yeah, I can feel the heat coming off of it. Let's see one more time, see if it goes into current limit. Yeah, it's current limiting at about 582 milliamps, just under 0.6 amps. So yeah, this thing's pretty bright. So actually it's not that bad. It's not that warm, so it didn't actually heat up that badly. But yeah, it's a cool little LED. I got this one while bidding on a bunch of random stuff on eBay. And if you're interested, the package said I don't remember now, maybe 120 by 36, something like that. So here's my little ruler. And I got, yeah, about a mil short of 120 in that direction, and almost dead on 36 mil in that direction, and the thickness is very thin. probably about 2 mils or so thick. So yeah, this cost me about 90 some cents Canadian. It's not a bad purchase. It's a pretty strong LED. I think the odd part will be to find a heatsink that I can actually put on here. Maybe I'll just need a chunk of aluminum or something, but yeah, pretty nice. So let's move on. Next one up is this guy, another skinny one, but I do feel something in there this time. This one says Li-USB V8-US. So some sort of USB device, but Li usually means lithium. Huh, okay. Let's take a closer look at that. So this thing is another result of my eBay gambling, so to speak, where I just bid on a whole bunch of stuff and see what sticks. This is a meter-long micro USB cable. So here's the micro USB connection. Actually, it wasn't clear on the listing. It seemed to say that it might have been USB-C. I didn't really mind because I paid 52 cents Canadian for this. The cheapest USB cables I can find are at the local dollar stores here, and they're $1.50, so this is a third of the price. Plus it's nice. Has this nice braid going on, which is very nice, very reflective. It's got this these aluminum ends, and there's the micro USB. So I guess I should find something to plug in and see how much current we can pull from this. I do want to do a sort of like a testing video where I can pull current from these USB connections and see how the cables fare, but I think this one feels kind of good. So I'm going to plug it into my tablet, and if it charges at the regular speed, that's good enough for me until I can do some more scientific tests. So let's do that now. And here I've got my tablet set up. If I plug this into the USB port of a computer, it'll just tell me there's a problem with the charging just up here where the battery is. It'll tell me it's only slow charging because the computer's USB can only provide a certain amount of charge current. But here it goes. So here's the cable. I have it plugged into my I have it actually plugged into an Apple charger. I couldn't find the Samsung charger, but plugging it in there. It does turn on. It is charging, and it's not giving me the little no symbol on top of this. So it is working. It is charging. Actually, it says charging right there. So everything seems good so far until I can do further testing. Let's move on. Next one up is this one. Now this one I don't really know what it is. It says phone accessories here, but it's pretty hefty. The only thing I can think of would be a bunch of charge cables, but I ordered those not that long ago, so I'd be surprised if this was it. I guess we'll see just now, because this thing is pretty big. It's taking up a lot of space too. Oh. Interesting. I really didn't expect these to be that heavy, so let's take a closer look. So these are another result of my late night bidding frenzies. These are touted as original USB charge cables for the LG phones, and again, the newer LG phones all have USB-C, and it wasn't clear if these were micro or USB-C. Now, usually when they say original, they usually mean higher quality, you know, better standards or whatever, but that's not the case with these guys. First of all, I don't know if you can see that. That is split right open. Yep, I can take that plastic casing right off and see the nitty-gritties. These were not expensive, however. These cost me, two were 46 cents and one was 30 cents Canadian. And again, same thing, even at micro USB, which I have quite a few things that charge micro USB. I can't get these cables for even close to that price locally, so that's pretty good that they're available like that. It was an auction anyways. I probably bid on, geez, I don't know. I bid on a lot of these cables. I only won a few of them. So yeah, the only thing left to say is they're about a meter, same length. They are very rigid. They don't bend very easily. And they do have some grip here, so it's nice you can pull those out, but I'm not sure about these. These might be, again, just very nice to test, but yeah, quality is sort of mediocre. We'll have to see if they last, but let's see if all three of them charge. So this time I'm using a Xiaomi Mi power bank. Let's see if if these things will actually charge. So here's the first one. I just turned off the power bank because it auto-onned. Oh, there we go. So that one's charging. That was the one with the broken end. I can probably fix that pretty easily. It's not that big of a deal. Let's try a fresh one out of the packet. This guy here. It is nice to just have spare cables. I'm not actually sure if these are sync cables or if they're just charge cables. So yeah, again, charging, which is nice. Oh, opened up eBay there. Wouldn't want to spoil the surprise what's coming next. And yep, all three do work, although they are stiff and clumsy, but it is what it is, I guess. Alright, well, nothing too important to look at when we're talking about USB cables, so on to the next one. This one here is another heavy package, but at least this one says silicone wire, or silicone cable quantity 5 and silicone cable quantity 5. So I have a pretty good idea what's in there. I did order some silicone wire. And there we go. Let's take a closer look. So no frills for these. These are just 2 bundles of 5 meters each of silicone wire. And this is just something that I've been running out since my RC days. I used to do a lot of remote control cars and such, and quadcopter, etc. So I had a lot of this laying around, but I've used all of it over the years. So basically it was time to restock. This was actually fairly expensive. So this is 18 gauge, 5 meters of each. They were $5.21 Canadian for each bundle. So a little bit more than I would regularly pay, but I do need this stuff, and it's way more expensive locally at the hobby stores. So the point of silicone wire is actually the insulation is silicone, and so it is more heat resistant, but also it is very flexible. I would say that this example, this stuff that I have here, is not a fantastic example of its flex, because just feeling it, it's not as flexible as I'm used to. So it's probably silicone mixed with some PVC insulation. It's definitely not PVC. Like if you check the wires, like let's say on this guy here, this is my component tester. If you look at the wires on this, they flex and kink. You see that kink? So this here will flex and not kink. It still goes smooth the other way, so it's much better, but it's not as smooth as some other stuff I've been ordering. So really, this thing is not phenomenal quality, but I just needed some wire to mess around here. One good thing about silicone wire though is you can usually strip it with your fingernail. So I'm gonna see if I can strip it. Yep, still strips. Okay, and also, I don't know if I'm in focus here, but I'm gonna fan these out for you. Look how many strands of wire are in there. So the silicone provides a lot of flexibility and it's heat resistant, but look at how many strands this wire is made of. This is 18 gauge wire, and there's like, geez, I don't know, 50 strands or so, and that also gives it a good flexibility. I don't believe this is aluminum wire. I know that aluminum is much cheaper than copper. I believe this is actually tinned copper. Actually, let me check that for you. I'll bring it up higher and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Alright, this is just about as zoomed in as I can get. So basically, you want to make sure that the wires you buy are copper. Even though they're silver like this, that just usually means they're tinned copper. Tinned as in like they have a tin coating, not a thin coating, a tin coating. And the way to check that is if you scrape this with a knife, you should be able to see the copper coloring come back. And so I'm going to scrape this quite a bit here. The reason you want copper rather than aluminum is that copper flexes more often before breaking. Aluminum will actually break easier. So I think I've done this enough. Let me take a look here because you guys probably have a better view than me. I am seeing a copper color emerge from there. It's very hard to see because anytime I get a good scrape, it actually just breaks the strands off. But I do see, I don't know if you can see right there, right about there, there is a copper strand. So yep, I believe this is tinned copper and not aluminum, which is good. So yeah, I bought 10 meters of this for just over 10 bucks, maybe 11 bucks. Hopefully that'll last me for a little bit. If not, I may have to order more, but hey, if I'm using this, that means I'm actually doing projects, which is a good thing. That being said, let's go on to the next one. And the lucky last one for today only says integrated circuit. I'm not 100% sure what this is. I know what I hope it is. And if it is what I hope it is, then I really could have used it on the last mailbag. But late is better than pregnant. I mean, late is better than never. So, and it is not what I thought it was going to be. So let's take a closer look at what these things are. And what these things are is, I believe there's 10 of them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Huh. I'm actually missing one. It's supposed to be 10 pieces, but anyways, it was 10 pieces. BTA, geez, I can't even read anymore. BTA 16 triacs. What a triac is think about it as the active component that dims an AC load. So not a DC load, but an AC, like you plug into your wall, load. I have no clue how these things work. I just know that when you get something like an electronic dimmer or maybe a tool with a trigger that you can vary the speed infinitely with, usually these are done with triacs, as long as it's not DC. With DC, you use pulse width modulation and MOSFET. But maybe together we can learn how this works. I do have a project that needs a triac. At least the triac was one of my ideas. So yeah, I can't make these work for you because I don't really know how they work. But they're going into the supply bin until I muster up the courage to work on AC devices. And this bunch of wire spaghetti makes up today's mailbag. Sorry about the anxiety for you OCD folks. Thanks for watching.